Welcome back to Tao of Twang. I'm Dave. So this is a part two, a follow-up to lesson from a couple of days ago. I'll use the same thumbnail for the most part. I may have like just part two added to it. I think it said inside caged. Um, so that they'll be easy to pair together. If you haven't seen that one, or this is your first time with us, you stick around, check it out. If you like that intro, just kind of the basic sound of that. You may have noticed one of the things that are really featured in there was this sort of thing. Okay, so sometimes those are referred to as sixth interval licks or harmonies. I until I kind of picked that piece of lingo from YouTube. I never really heard anybody refer to them in that way before, but it's nice to have a name for it, right? I've always just looked at it as pieces of triads, right? Each one is you know, skipping that middle one. And when you do this, you end up with these different inversions. For example, if this is a C and this is a C, when we take out that B string, we get two parts of triads, right? And they happen to be different components and inversions. It's just sort of a really systematic, easy way to get around and add a lot of melodic dimension to what you're doing. And it's also cool because you can slide them and they're real interchangeable. In this progression, all the chords are major. Okay, so that's nice, right? When we're doing this, um, you can do the same sort of business with minor chords mixed into your song as well. But just to kind of get everybody dialed in and really moving around with this with the major ones, I think I designed this progression for that purpose. Okay. So we've got our progression is C to G. Gonna go down to F. Got out of time there a little. Back to the C. Quick one to kind of turn it around with that C and G. We went over that more in the other video. So I don't mean to blow past some of these things, but you put these two lessons together, you're going to get a good comprehensive overview of what we're dealing with here. So let's jump right into this. Now, let me get my tracking and stuff up here where I can see it. Would be helpful. Usually I already have all this set up. There we go. So right away, let's just kind of the one example I showed you, let's kind of go through them and just look. There's more than one place for them, just like we did this on the kind of this shape connected to that one, right? You can do that on the next three adjacent strings, right? The 4, 3, and 2 strings. There's a C. There's a C, and we take that middle one out. And then we're just sliding each time, or picking it. But the intermittent move is the same shape as your destination, right? They all start with this offset shape of your first two fingers, okay? So that's just kind of, once you get that locked in, you see that one's G. Right? Tying that shape to this one, or this shape to this one. Okay? And we really got into that in part one. So today, what can we really do with this? And hopefully you've already been moving around. I've talked to a couple of people one-on-one about this already. They're already, plugging into it and putting the scale tones around it and so forth. And just some of the kind of, expected questions that are coming up is like, okay, well, what, do I need to think about different scales when I'm on different ones and chords and things and so forth? They're so um, applicable across the board. You can almost just use them as standalone things for each major triad. In fact, in this case, that's essentially what we're doing. But then when we want to add some more melody between them and use them as part of a kind of a bigger system of melody, right? Um, then we need to kind of establish, well, what is our main key and scale that we're using to begin with? Okay, and in this case, it's C major. So every one of those roots will be actually every note that's in every one of those chords. Let me correct myself, will be in that same 7-note bucket. Okay. If that sounds odd to you, kind of repeat that back to yourself and think about that for a second, how elegant the musical system is for that to be true. Right. Um, so, each one of the roots certainly um, you just kind of go through the progression like that, right? In fact, that's kind of a good way to start off on it for many of you, probably. Um, for all of us, when I do this, I'm kind of tracing it by that, identifying where the root and the third is. So let's just take a spin around like that. Well, I broke my rule, didn't I? Root, third, root, third, root. I'm going to bend to third. Now, I broke my rule again. But just to help us kind of move on and conceptualize this in a way that includes the things that you want to be aware of, right? So you get it about. I could do that on the last two chords as well. I could have just gone back to the root to the third, root to the third. But when I came down after the F, root, 2, root, 3. That's not the root of C, but that's not the root of G, but they're triad tones for the G, right? For each one respectively. The C, tell me which note that is for C. It's the major third, E, right? And for G, it's the perfect fifth for G. Right? The note is D. So, now, even when I went to that third, just like we said, we've been counting. We've been accounting for it from root. See, that's what you want to take note of. How it's tied together. See, so I went right to the third. Okay. And then, all right, now on the G, it's a note that's in that lick, but it's located, it's harmonized here with the third and the fifth. See that? Think of it all as triads. And then, um, if you're familiar and you have a lot of kind of iconic memory and use of the cage system, both in your hand and in your mind's eye, that put all that together, right? And you're gonna see it very quickly. And so, you know, this works out melodically in very convenient ways. So here I'm going to kind of stick to the program. I'm going to start on the kind of root, the basic shape, but I might kind of change directions of them and things a little bit more. Then, after I go around once or twice like that, I'm going to start adding in some more connecting scale tones from the C major scale. And it's all going to kind of look and hopefully and sound very um, concise, right? Okay. I'm not doing a lot of flying around here, right? Um, and I'm not going to play a whole lot of extended improv in this lesson, right? That right there was a hopefully a good demonstration of how to start moving around and where to look when you see the pieces of those all those things start to dovetail together, the cage shapes, the triads, the scale tones. I think I did go. I caught it too. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I could have got away with it probably, but I did hit a B flat there, right? Because I used it more as a right. I just said that if we're in C, the notes would be from the C uh, natural major scale, right? Um, but when I went from that F, it's just I stepped out of that for just a second and used like this is the third of the F, right? Use like a kind of a sus4 sound of that as just sort of an embellishment, right? And our ear kind of liked that. So if you caught that, good for you. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, somebody's going to call me out on that, right? So there's always little, exceptions that just if it works for your ear, then it's in, right? But hopefully that really gets you going on your own path of exploration for using these types of shapes and intervals in a different way, maybe than you have before. Let me know if this was helpful. Check us out on Patreon. There's a bunch, I think we're on our 9th week. So there's, 8 or 9 lessons in there that you can get access to for $5 a month. They're very much like these lessons. It's just, more fun, hopefully, more information. Appreciate you. Let me know how this goes in the comments, okay? Talk to you later.